Welcome to Question Time. Tonight, Sterling asks the questions. And with me, Nicola Sturgeon, Scotland's Deputy First Minister, the Respect MP George Galloway, Annabel Goldie, Leader of the Scottish Conservatives, Cathy Jemison, Deputy Leader of Labour in Scotland, and Nicholas Stephen, Leader of the Scottish Liberal Democrats. So, good evening and welcome to Stirling, famous home of the Scottish Kings. Before we start, you can, as ever, text us during this programme any comment you want to make about anything that's said that you want to take issue with or support. And you can email us as well. The details are there on the screen now. Our first question tonight from Gillian Wilson, please. Gillian Wilson.
Good evening. Now that Prince Harry's Secret Service is no longer secret, should he be brought home?
Aha! The news tonight that Prince Harry has been serving in Afghanistan. Nicola Sturgeon, what's your view?
I think that's got to be a military decision. I do think it's regrettable and reprehensible that it was leaked, because it's not only put Prince Harry's life more on the line, it's put the lives of every other soldier fighting in Afghanistan on the line as well, and I think that really is to be regretted. And, you know, credit to the British media that they didn't leak it. I have to say, you know, fair play to Prince Harry. I think it is to his credit. Somebody in his position could easily have got out of serving on the front line. I dare say there were many people who tried to talk him out of it. And what I'm about to say is not a criticism of Prince Harry in any way, but as we all get very focused, as the media get very excited about Prince Harry in Afghanistan, let's not remember that there are 6,000 or so other soldiers fighting in Afghanistan. All of them are brave. All of them are in danger, and let's not get too focused on one individual and forget about the rest of them.
You approve, in principle, the blackout, the news blackout when he's being there, do you?
Well, you know, if he's going to go, and, you know, he is in the army, he is a soldier, and, you know, I dare say people, and he was one of them, questioned when he wasn't allowed to go to Iraq, what's the point of him being in the army? I think, not just for the sake of him, I think for the sake of other soldiers, the blackout probably was sensible, and I think the safety of other soldiers has to be a key consideration now when the military are deciding whether he stays or is pulled out.
OK. Woman in the middle there.
Nicola Sturgeon says we all get very excited about Prince Harry in Afghanistan. Do we, really?
Well, I meant the media. You know, I've just been through watching the news, and it is wall-to-wall coverage.
Do you? Do you?
No.
You don't. Cathy Jemison, do you?
Well, I think obviously the story has broken tonight. Like Nicola, I think it was the right thing that the UK media have been very sensitive about this. They have kept the information that they had to themselves. They have allowed Prince Harry to get on and do the job that he's doing, alongside many, many other, again, as Nicola has said, brave service people who are there doing a job on our behalf.
And do you think it should come home now, which was what Gillian Wilson's question was?
I don't think that that's a decision for politicians to take. I think it's absolutely right that that would be a military decision that would be taken in the best interest of all of the serving soldiers who are out there. I, again, think that, you know, he has clearly wanted to do the job that he's been trained for, and I hope that, you know, he is safe, and indeed that all the others who are out there are safe too.
All right. The woman in the front here.
Surely this is censorship, that we did not know that he was there. Surely the media are keeping something from us, and what else are they keeping from us?
George Galloway?
Well, let me burst the panel's consensus. What else are the media keeping from us? That's two stories this week. First, we now realise there was a D notice placed on the news about the British hostages taken in Baghdad 8 months ago. And that means that the media kept a blanket of secrecy without telling us anything about it. And now we discover the BBC, if you'll forgive me, has been with Harry every step of the way. That makes the BBC a part of the war effort. Well, I don't support the war, and I pay for the BBC just like the supporters of the war on either side of me. And I don't like the idea that the British media should be a part of the war effort. It's admirable that Harry is there. I promise you, there aren't any members of Parliament sending their sons there. There aren't any ministers sending their sons there. So it's admirable a way that he is there.
Okay,
but
well,
I don't think
hang on.
anybody, none of the soldiers should be there.
Hang on that point. Well, that's a different point. You say it's admirable that he should be there, and if his commanding officers say he can only be there if it's not public knowledge that he is there, then why is it so wrong for the media, BBC and everybody else not to reveal the fact he's there if it puts other soldiers at risk?
Well, if it's putting other soldiers at risk,
that's what they
he
said
shouldn't have been sent there. Now that it's been revealed, ipso facto, the other soldiers are at risk.
But not ipso facto at all.
It is.
If it was kept secret, he wouldn't have been putting them at risk.
Yes, but
that was
you
the
know
Ministry's
very
point of
well
view.
that the rest of the media in the world aren't the poodles that the British media are.
Well, they have been for the last. For the last 8 weeks.
As it turns out, they haven't been. In January, an Australian website reported
Well,
this.
you didn't report
and
it because you didn't know, and nobody else knew.
Well, you wouldn't have allowed me. You would have edited it out, and that's what's wrong. This is a secret war that's taking place against an enemy undefined, for purposes undefined, and I think most people in Britain don't want that kind of a war. Prince Harry was saying on the television he was engaging the enemy. I don't know about you. I don't have any enemies in Afghanistan. I didn't declare war on anybody in Afghanistan.
The Taliban are not an enemy.
No, they're not an enemy to me.
Okay. You, sir, with the beard.
Well, I think it's all very well for us to have concern for Prince Harry on the one hand, and indeed 8,000 of our sons and daughters who are in Afghanistan. But most of all, I'm concerned about the people of Afghanistan in this generations and future generations, because there's an appalling legacy of brutality, of bombing, of depleted uranium. This is a terrible war crime that our whole nation's involved in, and we should be ashamed of ourselves.
Annabel Goldie.
Well, but the other side of the coin is that Afghanistan is a democracy. And I mean, we are there.
You're having a laugh, Annabel.
Well, I'm not having a laugh. I'm not having a laugh.
There's a group of warlords in Afghanistan who control 30% of the country.
Now,
you call
George,
that a democracy?
You've already had your voluble say, George, and I know you're very much a one-man show of a one-man party, and that's your privilege or your condemnation. But,
Eat your heart out.
I think democracy in this country entitles the rest of us to have views, and I certainly feel that what we're trying to do in Afghanistan, of course, is to nurture this democracy against the unlawful and terrorist activities of, whatever George may think of them, the Taliban. Now, I think that's an honourable mission to be engaged in. I think it's a dangerous mission and a difficult one. And going back to the lady's point about censorship, you know, is it censorship by the British media to not disclose at request the presence of Prince Harry in Afghanistan? No, I mean, during time of engagement, the British government involved at the time of whatever engagement we've been involved in has had to make decisions about operational safety. Military commanders have to make decisions about operational safety. And I don't think it's for us, a panel in Stirling, to be trying to preempt or prejudge these decisions. If the military commanders felt that anonymity was a safe way for Prince Harry to do what we all know he wants to do more than anything else, and that's be a soldier with his colleagues in the army and do his best in this mission, then I think we have to leave it to military commanders to make their judgment about that.
And you think he'll come back now that his presence is known about?
Again, I agree with Cathy Jimison. I don't think that's a decision for us to make, David. I think that's a decision for the military commanders to make.
You, sir.
Surely he shouldn't have been allowed to join the army in the first place if he wasn't actually going to be allowed to do the job. I mean, the military have to be held to account as that, as well as the sort of pressure from the royal family, as well as sort of the pressure from the media.
But he has been allowed to do the job. He's done the job very, very courageously and very bravely.
Yes, but now we know about it. He's not going to be allowed to do the job. You know, if you want media coverage of it, then you can't have that sort of person doing that sort of job.
Nicholas Stephen?
I'm convinced that the background to all of this arises from what happened last year. I think the last time I was on this programme, it was announced publicly by the army that Prince Harry was going to be going to Iraq. And as a result of that, we had a major row about the whole issue. We had, in Prince Harry's own words, because I've been watching some of the media tonight, him being called a coward for then changing attitude towards this. And the reason that the army changed their attitude was because there was felt to be a real threat not just to Harry, but to the troops that he would be out there with.